Welcome back. Hey, what a delight to have a famous guy back in the studios from which he was born. Delighted to have back in the studio with us today Paul Coughlin. He is the founder and the president of the Protectors, formerly with theDove years ago when life was simple. But
when it was just radio.
It was just radio.
Over a bank.
Yeah. And we had to calm you down from bullying the staff. So anyway, great to have you, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, doing good.
You know, this whole subject has just exploded. Everybody's talking about it. There's public service announcements about it.
Yeah.
Not only in the schools, in the homes. We're talking about corporate bullying. Now we're talking about cultural bullying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's amazing. Did you ever think it would explode like that?
I guess maybe deep down. But when we started 10 years ago, we were like the places that change your oil. It's like, you know, that's a good idea. It's unnecessary, but it's a good idea, right? Yeah. And now bullying is the topic of the day. You know, it's the #1 form of child abuse.
You've been all over the country. Yeah. You've been on, let's see, Focus on the Family. You've been on all the television networks. So obviously people are interested in it. Are they paying attention to it?
You know, they are. I think people who have flesh in the fight pay attention to it. I think parents whose child are being bullied, they pay attention to it. Education pays attention to it. Unfortunately, bullying is not a school problem. Bullying is a cultural problem. We need to change culture before we can change bullying in our schools. We have it backwards right now.
All right. So it's got a long ways to go.
Yeah, it'll transcend all of us.
Some schools have started, most will start in the next week or so, and some parents are actually now concerned that their kid came out of a year where they were bullied. Mm-hmm. They got him through the summer, supposedly got him healed, but deep down in the heart of that kid may be a fear to go back to school.
Yeah, and we just saw it recently in Chicago, where a kid took his life. Rarely do they do it only because of bullying, but bullying plays a major factor in why kids decide to take their lives, over 50% in most cases, most of the time. Mm. So many parents don't even find out about the bullying until the last day of school. And then you have the summer to hopefully regroup. Hopefully what parents have been able to do this summer is grow those friendships. Bullies do not pick on just anyone. They go after certain people at certain times. So they go after kids usually who are shy, socially awkward. They don't have a lot of friends usually, and that's just, it's just prime pickings for a bully. So a bully is going to go shopping in September when school begins. By October, they will find most every target. They're looking for a kid with low body language, someone who doesn't show a lot of oomph, someone who they know if they can pick on, that they can get away with it. A bully is not looking for a fight. A bully looks to overwhelm. So if your child appears to be the kind of person that can be overwhelmed, that is who they're going to target over other kids.
All right. Some parents are very aware that their child is shy, maybe awkward or quiet.
Yeah.
What do they do to prepare them?
Well, you never had one of those kids, if I'm not mistaken.
All three of mine, three, well,
well
no, our two sons and me.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have to worry about that, given what I know of your family.
Okay, don't go there.
Yeah, so you got this shy kid, and I've got 3 kids. My middle kid, Garrett, was in the gifted program. Gifted kids tend to be shy, right? And so it took us about 2 years to coach him out of it. As a parent, you got to coach him. You've got to you got to help them fake it till they make it. For example, Garrett would want a candy bar at a grocery store. And I'd say, well, here's the money, buddy, and go ahead and buy it. And he would look at the stranger, and he just wouldn't want to talk to the stranger and buy a candy bar. And he'd say, no, Dad, you do it. And I said, well, buddy, if you don't, apparently you don't want it that bad. I'm not going to do it for you. But I think that person looks nice to me, and she looks friendly. And I bet that she will actually smile at you when you buy this candy bar from her. And he wouldn't do it sometimes, and eventually did it. And we had to continually, me and Sandy, just force him to just be more assertive in public settings. And it took about 2 years, and he was able to come out of his shell. And but it didn't happen overnight.
All right, so, but school starts and parents are concerned, so what do they do?
Yeah, one thing to help alleviate the anxiety right now that is currently going through the heart of so many kids. Some of them have never been to the school that they're going to, especially when they go into a new grade. Visit the school before it begins, walk around, help some of that anxiety dissipate within that kid, if at all possible, and this is really, really important, cultivate those friendships. At least, you need at least one, ideally 3 to 5. As a parent, children need to be saved from themselves, right? They just don't know the landscape, but we do. And so we need to help our child do the right thing even when they don't know what the right thing is. And in many cases, many times, it's friendships. Have those kids into your home. Children are like puppies. I've been a coach for over 20 years. I know one thing, feed them and they will come. So just have food in your house. Good food, the better. And grow those friendships, cultivate those friendships. It'll make a huge difference.
What do you say to a teacher when she knows she's got a shy, maybe an awkward child coming into the classroom? You're saying probably is the prime target.
Yeah.
What do you say to the teacher?
Yeah, that's a tough one because that kid is likely never to stand up for himself or herself, maybe not until their 20s or 30s. It's just not in them, Perry. They are not the guy. Like we'll tell a kid to look a bully in the eye. Have yet in 10 years been able to get a target to do that. They're so afraid of their bully, they won't look them in the eye. I say that's not even necessary. Just look them in the forehead or don't just look off to the side while you're speaking to them. There's a number of things you can do. Partnering that kid with another kid who's more assertive and strong and just say, you know, I think this guy's going to have a little difficult time early in the school year. Would you help me figure out what people are saying to him, what they might be doing to him? I need someone I can rely upon. If you see someone picking on him or her, would you stand up for that person to say that it's wrong? There are kids will do heroic things. They really will. But we need to give them a script and a game plan before that event takes place. So usually that's why we're called the protectors. We partner, we give those kids a protector to look out for them, and teachers can do the same thing.
Now, the big part about bullying is speak out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You want to comment on that?
It is. I mean, one study says that if one person stands up and they use assertive but nonviolent words, they don't even have to be popular, they don't even have to be big, that incident of bullying can end 58% of the time within 6 to 8 seconds. Let me talk to Christians here for a second. Right now, only about 13% of students are actually going to help the target in school. 40 to 60% will join the bully. That includes Christian children. Our children are sinning every school day when we decide to make cruelty currency, which is what bullying is really about. And our children are sinning because they're giving into the sin of cowardice, Revelation 21:8. So our kids are being cowards. They want to help that kid, but they're too afraid to help that kid. We as parents need to change how we parent. We need to be like the parent in American Sniper. That when he has his 2 boys, and well, okay, it's about to get adult, Perry. He has his 2 boys at the table, right? And he says, you know, there's 3 kinds of people in this world. You've got wolves, you got sheep and sheepdogs. I expect you to be a sheepdog. I expect you to fight those wolves. And that is what we need to do with our kids. I've done it with all 3 of my kids. They are expected to do something life-affirming when they see bullying take place. And until we do that, as parents, as mature people, particularly people of faith, it's not going to change.
All right, we've got to take a break. When we come back, I got a big question for him. But in the meantime, theprotectors.org is an incredible resource for you. And by the way, there's curriculum for schools. Paul goes to schools and school districts. He's all over the place. But if you want more information about the Protectors, go to theprotectors.org. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Okay, we're back with Paul Coughlin, and Paul is the president and the founder of Protectors and deals with the subject of bullying. He's also an author, And his website is theprotectors.org, which is a great resource. So check it out, theprotectors.org. Bullying, big subject. It's across the board from kids in school, which we know is a big issue. Sometimes, I got to tell you, if you're doing any kind of marital counseling, you'll find out that it's pretty prevalent in a lot of marriage breakups, where there's some bullying going on. Corporate bullying, we've seen it. Cultural bullying. All right. Is Donald Trump a bully?
And I heard we were going to talk about this today.
Or is he just a forceful guy?
My niece said, you know what you're talking about this morning at a 7:30 appointment? She says, you're talking about Donald Trump. And I said, I didn't know I was talking about Donald Trump. Interesting you say that, because I submitted I write for Fox News for bullying, about bullying. And I submitted an article recently called The Donald American Bully. Yeah, he fits the category. He fits the category not because he's opinionated, not because he has strong beliefs, not necessarily because he's brash and clear thoughts and has disdain for political correctness and other things like that. I actually share some, if not many, of his views. That doesn't make you a bully. What makes you a bully is how you treat other people in the process of disagreeing. And Donald Trump expresses disdain and contempt for people to which he disagrees with. So, as a politician, you know this well, Perry, from almost your former life. Almost your former life. Do people know about your former life, Perry?
No, I've gone to confession. I'm okay.
So you know that you can have strong opinions. Yeah. I think about Carly Fioroni, for example. This is a lady who really does not like political correctness. She has very strong political views, but she retains the dignity and value of the other person when she's talking to him. Chris Matthews' interview, for example, after she questioned Hillary Clinton. Fioroni did a great job in holding her ground, being smart, frankly being presidential, and getting her ideas across. But she didn't do this usual eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth that Trump does. Trump doesn't just disagree with people. He wants to sear their psychological flesh. He wants to humiliate, isolate, and make that person withdraw from the conversation, primarily through name calling. If you want to know who a bully is, bullies call other people names. And Perry, I testify in court for these children who are being bullied. I'm an expert witness. And the very words Donald Trump uses for the people that he disagrees with are the very words being used against our children on playgrounds that is searing their psychological flesh.
Idiot,
and it's on purpose.
Idiot, dummies.
Idiot, dummy. He recently called, like, for example, how he treated Megyn Kelly is inexcusable.
I was going to go there. All right, the first response to Megyn Kelly was a result of the question during the debate.
Yeah.
But to somehow sly her when she was on vacation, what was that all about?
Saying that she was, Donald Trump is like many bullies. He doesn't fit the total definition of a bully, but he fits enough to where I can call him a bully. Bullies lie about other people with impunity. They do it on purpose, but it's also the name calling. So he probably he cast aspersions on her truthfulness because bullies go after the victim. If you dare speak out against them, they'll double their attack on you. In many cases, many times. That's likely what we're seeing today with Donald Trump. So he's basically calling her a liar, and then he calls her a bimbo. He calls her a bimbo. He retweeted a tweet after she returned. He's keeping that fight going. Why? I don't exactly know, but I'll tell you why bullies do it. Bullies do it because of their hubris. It is their arrogance. Your average bully believes they're superior to other people. Therefore, they deserve horrible treatment. He probably thinks Megyn Kelly deserves to be pounded because how dare she question him? That's probably what's happening.
Wow. I think you have confirmed what some people are feeling, but at the same time, they like what he's saying about the issues.
I like what he says. In this article for Fox News, I was brought up from, my parents are Irish immigrants, as you well know. Yeah. My dad was so quiet, I think he said like 12 words a day. Like he was going to be taxed on every word, right? So I was brought up not to be a loud American, right? So I have that European influence. But Donald Trump he's not just a loud person. He's not just brash. He's extremely, extremely arrogant. And that is a dangerous thing for American foreign policy because this is what bullies do. Bullies are even awful in victory. They will, in victory, not just will they win, they don't know how to win humbly. They will grind salt into the loser's wounds. And what that does, particularly on an international stage, we saw it with Germany after World War I, particularly toward France, their wounded pride, is that people don't forget that. People do not forget bullying behavior. And so we don't want to make any unnecessary enemies, particularly on the world stage. We're going to make enemies regardless. We just don't want to make unnecessary enemies. Bullies make unnecessary enemies. You don't want that person running American foreign policy, among other things.
Wow. I'm not going to comment on that. I just need our viewers and listeners to process that, because I really think at the same time you are hitting what a lot of people feel, but at the same time, him and Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina are outside of the Beltway, and they are getting a huge recognition because they're not part of the problem. So this is new waters. We're in uncharted waters here.
I think you can compare Fiorina and Trump, and you can see that she too has strong views. Strong views do not make you a bully. Yeah. She's opinionated as Trump is opinionated, but look how she expresses those things. She will be bringing people toward her in a way, but Trump will provide unnecessary conflict and difficulty, because that is what bullies do.
He gives the impression that if you've been okayed by him, you've made it. In other words, well, I like you. You're a good person. Oh, what am I supposed to take from that? I've arrived?
Well, when you believe you're superior to other people,
yeah,
and you hand out those kind of Pez candy dispenser attaboys, and if you don't accept that from a bully, you don't defer to a bully, they will get extremely upset with you and probably begin to attack you if you don't accept it. That's hubris, and I hope he can get over it. In this article for Fox News, I write, if I had a magic wand, I would keep his passion. I love his passion. I like his indignation. I like how he doesn't have a lot of filters, and he's just very straightforward. That is attractive. I like it as well. I like his stances, but he's got to dump the disdain and contempt toward other people. He needs to be presidential. He needs to watch Ronald Reagan for a while and see, this is a guy who learned how to disagree and at the same time able to pull people toward him, because our political system, Perry, as you well know, is based on compromise. Right. It is based on compromise. That's how it is. Right. A guy like that isn't going to get much done, because people they're just going to do more than hold their nose, because you've had to hold your nose in politics. I've had to do some of that as well, and move forward. They will hate working with that person and say, I ain't working with this person.
I've been concerned, Paul, with the tone of conservative talk radio lately.
You've been concerned for a while.
Yeah, the cynicism is driving me crazy, and what's the problem with it is there's no hope in it.
Yeah.
And the hosts who are being who disagree with their guests, or people calling in, or if they disagree with the host, there is a massive form of bullying going on right there. Like, you're an idiot, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know, there's a big difference, Perry, between cynicism and skepticism. And skepticism is a good thing. Cynicism, I wrote about it in a previous book, and there's a great book by a guy named Dick Keyes, Seeing Through Cynicism. I think it's published by University Press. I can't recommend it enough for people who are pretty cynical. Yeah, it sucks life out of the room. It really, really dissipates hope. We need hope. And cynicism basically says, why try? We are called to try. We're called to continue on this path even when it's difficult. And also with cynicism too, we claim to understand things that we really, really don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's dangerous. It can lead to hubris.
Well, it leads to a disengagement that I've never seen. You know, in the religious world, we call it cults. In the secular world, I guess we call it a following. But I'm amazed how many people are now angry, shut down, and augured in, you know, as a result of this kind of stuff. All right, so corporate bullying. What does a person do who's stuck in an office atmosphere that they're being slowly picked upon?
Yeah, let me talk about that, because that's really pretty painful. We've done some work in that area, because it is similar. So in schools, cruelty is currency for social power. You become more popular by being awful to your classmates. Studies show it. Cruelty is currency. Well, to be cruel in the workplace is currency as well, but it's usually for financial gain. In the world of international politics, to terrorize people politically makes you a terrorist for political gain. To terrorize other people in the workplace is usually financial gain. So that's what largely we're talking about here. Get yourself a really, really good labor attorney. Find out what is legal and illegal. And if at all possible, set the people up who are making your life miserable. Some people don't have the guts for it. Find out what you can record legally, audio, video, both. Usually, the devil's in the details, but usually if there's recordings in a public place, you can usually get away with that sort of thing, but you got to be very careful about these things. Go with an attorney, see what they say. And then, Perry, frankly, in many cases, many of the times, just leave. Particularly if you're female.
Yeah.
The psychological...
Is sexual harassment bullying?
Absolutely, it's power. It's just bullying is primarily the abuse of power in particular forms, and the bully gets something out of it. So it is certainly sex trafficking is the overlap between bullying and sex trafficking is profound. But I would want to speak to women, particularly that might be watching. The psychological effects of bullying in the workplace are near identical for some as the psychological effects of soldiers returning from war.
Really?
And a number of
PTSD?
Mm-hmm,
really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's very similar dynamics.
Really?
So what do you do there? If you're dealing with that, go get another job. In many cases, many of the time, it's almost impossible to prove by the letter of the law. You can prove it morally, but can you prove it lawfully by way of damages? It can be done. Extremely difficult to do. You might just be better off leaving.
Well, I think you run the risk of being tagged as a troublemaker.
Whistleblower,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so just better off to leave.
Better off to leave. If you can leave on your own terms, even better. Go find that other job before you... The best time to look for a job is when you have one.
Okay.
And so and don't tell anyone at work. Just do your thing.
I only got about a minute, and this is an unfair question in a minute, but maybe you can just touch on it.
One of many unfair questions.
From me to you.
Yeah.
Spiritual bullying.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it takes place. It should never take place, particularly within the church, but it does, and people will never forget it. And Perry, that's different between disagreeing with another person. Sometimes you got to let people go. But if you do it in a way that retains the dignity of that other person and you retain your own dignity, most people will be okay with that. When you bully the other person, we never forget our bullies. And we will take shots at that person when we get the chance.
Wow. All right. Theprotectors.org is Paul's website. He does seminars. I guess you post all that there. You're writing for Fox now. How can they get copies of what you're writing for Fox?
Just go online.
FoxNews.com?
Yeah, just type in Paul Coughlin.
Really? You're that big?
That's what I do.
You're that big with Fox now? I remember your humble beginnings.
Oh, boy.
Okay. All right. So anyway, The Protectors, plural, protectors.org. And by the way, you have all the curriculum there that they can
Sure do.
top into. And you got what, like books and workbooks and stuff?
Absolutely, for both public schools and private faith-based schools.
There you go. All right, check it out. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.